What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the GITM podcast, where we cover the paranormal, the true crime, and whatever else we feel like discussing on any given live stream.
Yeah.
Because that's just how we roll. We don't care, but what are we doing tonight? I mean,
we're doing stuff.
Well, is it paranormal? Is it true?
It's all kinds of things. It's a whole lot of stuff
Way
going
to
on
be
in one
descriptive.
Story. It covers a lot of it is a jack of all trades, a master of none. I agree. I am. I think I'm getting a zit right on the inside of my nostril.
Oh, those suck. There's only one other place that's even worse. The ear, the inside of the ear.
I've never had that.
Oh, I've had that. I've had one on the inside.
My best friend growing up got chicken pox on the insides of his eyelids.
I got poison ivy in my eye one time. Thank God I didn't get it on my dick, but I got it in my eye.
How'd you accomplish that?
I had it on my hands, and I guess I went like this, rubbed my eye.
Oh, we're gonna tell you about Mel's hole here. You hold your horses. We're gonna dive deep into Mel's hole here in about 5 to 20 minutes.
Neither one of us have ever dived deep into any hole.
Okay, well we're gonna dive. We're gonna dive deep into Mel's hole if we're speaking in the realm of like rolls of coins.
Okay. Pennies or nickels?
They're all similarly sized for the most part.
Quarters are pretty thick. I'm
talking about length.
The circumference is pretty good on
yeah,
the quarter.
you're talking radially. I'm speaking lengthwise. Now, if you want to talk about square inchage, that. So what happened? What do we do? That fucking bridge fell down in Baltimore. Did you see that shit?
Yeah,
that motherfucker went down quick.
Don't take much,
especially when you got like a 1 million pound fucking container ship running into it.
That's one expensive and dangerous form of Jenga.
Now, I didn't pay a horrible amount of attention to it, but I heard that the dude didn't have steering like almost immediately after he left port. And on top of that, you have to be a harbor master, I believe, has to portage ships in and out of the harbor in Maryland.
It's all speculation that I've heard. They lost power, and you can see the lights go out and come back on. Mm-hmm. And I also heard they dropped the anchor to try to.
And so they did do that. That was the first thing I thought. I was like, why would you not find some type of manual override to drop the anchor?
They dropped the anchor, but it just was dragging on the bottom. That didn't work. But, I loved immediately all the conspiracy theories popped up.
Oh, I didn't even pay attention to any of that shit.
All the explosions on the top. But
we got a grenade-shaped butt plug and raccoon reference. That's a deep dive into the history of this shit show.
Yes. But immediately they're saying all kinds of, explosions were going off up the top. Yeah, probably electricity.
Yeah.
There's probably wires up there, and when they're breaking off, you're going to get a little.
No, it was fucking ISIS and Hamas. Duh. What else would it be?
I don't. It's at least it sounds like it could have been a whole lot worse, as in total death life. I mean, it wasn't that super crowded on there. I guess there's I believe a couple cars took the plunge, and I think there was 6 or 7 guys from the construction crew.
You think they're going to use the video footage of that for another Superman movie?
No.
They sure as shit did it with the Golden Gate Bridge.
Did they?
Yeah. In like one of the OG Superman movies, they had footage of the Golden Gate Bridge when it went all wonky.
Oh, when it started rocking and rolling?
Yeah. That was an adventure.
I
was there firsthand. I was 22 years old, just a young lad.
I'm not a big bridge fan anyway, and this didn't.
Did you see the reverse bridge? It's in like Norway or some shit.
No.
It's like a bridge, quote unquote, but it's a tunnel, but it's a bridge because it's a very short period. It's like a short distance. It's just enough for like a ship to pass over. So the road goes under the waterway for like, I don't know, 100 feet. Maybe.
Huh.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like, while I was watching the video and I had to like rethink some stuff. I was like, wait, hold on. If E equals MC squared and peanut butter and jelly is a delicious midnight snack, what in the holy donkey fuck is going on here?
I'm not a big fan of tunnels that go into water either, because if I had my preference of being in a catastrophe with a bridge coming down or a tunnel imploding, I think I got a better chance of surviving the bridge than I'm not big on enclosed spaces.
I would say statistically, you're probably correct.
But have you seen that one? There's a bridge in Japan or China or somewhere where it motherfucker goes you up, real up, and he comes back down like, fuck you. I don't want a roller coaster ride on a bridge.
Sounds like some good old hill hopping. Ding, ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding. Windy if you
But
know.
it's a real steep incline and a decline.
But you'd be fun to sled on.
Nope.
But just had a thought that I haven't thought of until we were having this conversation with this Baltimore bridge collapse. Was there a Mothman sighting within range of this bridge?
I don't know. Maybe we'll have to check into that.
Or Jersey Devil. I will also accept Jersey Devil. Any winged cryptid I will accept as an excuse for this.
It'd be very interesting.
Michael Jackson with fucking wings. I don't know.
It would be interesting. I would assume.
Having a rope bridge or drive on a glass bridge?
Oh no, those
Rope.
glass. I've seen those TikToks and reels of like people walking on glass on skyscraper. Fuck that.
Like in Chicago?
Yeah, I'm out. I'm done. No, I don't need that. No, I don't need that shit in my life.
I wonder if there's a weight limit.
Fat boy here likes to stay his feet on the ground.
I would have to do it just to do it.
I'm not a big.
It might be a quick one.
I'm not a big heights guy.
It'd be like when Stewie felt Cleveland's hair and fucking Family Guy. I'd just walk out real quick and be like, ooh. That was one of the best racist jokes I've ever seen. He did. He does. Cleveland's the black guy on Family Guy, and he's holding Stewie, and he goes, I was wondering, could I touch your hair? And he's like, go ahead. And he fucking feels his hair, and he goes, ooh, it's like a sheep. Like, goddamn, all right, cool, good job, Seth MacFarlane. Way to get away with fucking murder yet again. Rope bridge, I guess. They seem to be more popular.
I don't know.
I feel like I trust the tensile strength of a large piece of rope more than the surface tension strength of a piece of glass. Look at me using fucking words.
Jeez, you might keep that
Syllables, syllables.
Keep that up. People might think you know what the fuck you're talking about.
See, that's the thing. I do know what the fuck I'm talking about. It's just never about anything that matters.
That's true. I can't argue that point.
I'm a big dumb idiot in everything useful. That's not entirely true. I have some problem solving skills. I'm really good at rewiping. My butthole's pretty good at deciding whether or not it's a solid, liquid, or gas coming out of it 92% of the time.
It's that 8% we worry about.
Yeah. That 8% really fucks up about 100% of my day.
Yeah.
Anything else happen?
No, I mean, no, not really.
I know Syria's getting into some shit or some fucking thing. I don't know. There's always some. It's like fucking, like, the whole Middle Eastern area / Eastern Europe to an extent is basically just like gangland with actual borders.
Yes.
Like, it's basically just like fucking East LA, just way bigger. Turn them up. God, see, this is why I told you not to give the fucking intern a day off. We don't have a fucking intern. Beetlejuice 2 is coming out. Haven't watched any trailers or anything. Probably wait till it comes out on stream if it's not already.
I was not a big fan of Beetlejuice 1.
But I feel like I wasn't like a massive Beetlejuice fan, but like I watched the second one. I liked it enough to watch the second one. As opposed to Roadhouse, the only things I've heard about Roadhouse makes me not want to watch it.
We're getting a crowd in. Jeez.
Yeah, we got fucking 3 different names in our comments already.
3 or 4.
We're basically fucking famous. For No, we're
not. No, but we try. We make an effort.
I'm trying to think. Anything else pressing in the world?
No.
The UFL kicked off. Didn't watch any of it.
Nope.
NC State upset someone. I don't even know
I think
who.
it was Duke.
No, Duke won because they were both underdogs.
I think NC State took out Duke for the Final Four.
Oh, they may have. I'm
Yeah.
talking about the Elite Eight.
I'm pretty sure.
Or maybe the Sweet 16.
Yeah,
I think it was the Sweet 16 because I put money on Duke and NC State.
I think NC State took out Duke for the Final Four.
I went all underdogs, and I lost 2 out of the 4, but the other 2 made up for the other 2.
I don't gamble, so I gamble with my life.
I just did the little, like, put in $5, get X amount of free bets, and I just been fucking betting little bullshit bets ever since. I'm up, like, if that means anything. A lot of tennis betting. It's literally, it's so easy.
You might have a problem when you start betting on tennis.
I just go in, I go, okay, so they won the first set. They're about to win the second set. Put $10 on it, win $13, and then that's $3 more than I had before.
Oh, well.
Quantity, not quality.
Yeah, you want quantity, not quality.
So, yeah. Phil's still alive.
Yeah, that's a whole shit show. We'll worry about that another day.
It's still up in the air whether that's a good thing or not. Gypsy Rose is getting divorced.
Who's Gypsy Rose? I don't even.
Oh, Jesus
I don't
Christ,
get
Phil.
the reference.
You don't know who Gypsy Rose is? The Munchausen by proxy girl? Like the real life one. She just got out of prison. She's all over
the
TikTok
one that killed her
shit.
mom?
The D is fire.
Killed her mom? Yeah, okay.
Well, yeah, kind of. She was part of it.
Oh.
There was 2 parties involved in the death of the mother.
No, okay.
Yeah, you didn't.
I just pay that much attention.
Oh my God! Yeah, people were talking shit about her husband or whatever when she got out of prison, and she defended him and pointed out that the D is fire with a fire emoji.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, okay, how many D's have you had in the first place? You've been in prison for how long? And you were like fucking 9 until you were like 20.
I'm sorry. If the D is fire, you might want to go see a doctor. Get some antibiotics.
It clearly wasn't fire enough if she's getting fucking divorced.
Yeah, so, no, I got nothing really. We can start this at any time.
She's like, he's very sweet. And then you got out and you're like, there's other human beings in the fucking world. Huh.
No shit.
This guy kind of sucks. He kind of looks like Peter Griffin. A lot of Family Guy references tonight.
Oh, well.
Speaking of, let's talk about another fireman. Family Guy. Family man.
2.
Fuck.
Cut. Take 2.
So, tonight we're talking about Mel's hole. Mel's deep, dark, stinky hole. A lot of stuff in Mel's hole.
This is what happens when I let you pick the episode.
There's a lot of stuff in Mel's hole, as we will discover. So, Mel's hole, for those who don't know, is a mysterious phenomenon that gained notoriety in the 1990s, attributed to a man named Mel Waters, who claimed to have discovered it on his property in Ellensburg, Washington, which is like the fucking middle of Washington. Yeah.
Smack dab in the middle.
So, we go on to the discovery
of Mel's hole.
Mel Waters, again, owned a piece of property about 9 miles west of Ellensburg, Washington. I do not know if it was in a different incorporation or not. Don't really give a fuck. All I give a fuck about is this man's hole. Mel Waters claimed to have found the hole on his property in the early 90s while searching for sources of water on his property, because we're out there in bumfuck a little bit.
Need to find some H2O, some high quality H2O.
You have to hydrate your hole. He described it as a, quote, bottomless pit that he stumbled upon while exploring his land. Now, the legend, oh, Jesus Christ, computer's going haywire. Now, the legend of Mel's hole came to light in the public eye when Mel called on February 21st of 1997. Oh, happy April Fool's Day, by the way, just end the stream. When he called into the popular radio show Coast to Coast AM.
Making another appearance on the GITM podcast.
At the time, hosted by the one and only Art Bell.
Art Bell?
The most droll-sounding man ever. Did have an interesting radio show, but good God. So it just he sounded like a fucking news reporter at the end of the 70s. And, well, yes, Mel, you did find a hole. Now, will you tell us about your hole? What was the rim of the hole like? Was there a lot of debris around or within the hole? Do you have a picture that you can send me of your hole, Mel? These are not quotes. I do not claim that Art Bell said any of these things. I would have if I was interviewing him, but that's just me. So for years, locals had known about the, quote, bottomless nature of the hole, dumping garbage down the hole, including dead cattle, truckloads of old tires. He literally said, I had a little Mexican fella that would dump truckloads of tires down there. And I was like, don't know if it's important that he's Mexican, but I guess it is part of the story. Why leave it out? Arriba derchi. That's not even fucking Spanish. No. Arriba, viva la raza. Lie, cheat, steal, I guess. But only if you're Eddie Guerrero. That's not a blanket statement for the Hispanic culture. Eddie Guerrero did it, though. Also, large appliances
Large appliances.
like refrigerators, and also those old school TV tubes that for just a a warning, if you have an old TV that has a tube, don't go throwing it places because it could end very badly. They're rather explosive for small things, and don't they have like fucking lead in them or some shit like that?
Probably.
Yeah, they have a good pop. But apparently these things were just getting tossed out. Apparently he did it a couple times just for science. And nothing. Didn't hear a plippity plop, but not a crash, nothing. So when garbage was dumped in the hole, no sound of any object hitting the bottom was ever heard. And according to him, he never heard it cascading off the sides either. Because like he goes into this whole thing of like, you know, obviously something with a bottom will eventually start to taper in.
Mm-hmm.
So scientifically, even if you dropped it dead center, the motion of falling added with wind resistance would eventually send it into some type of a wall. Unless it's a cavern. Didn't even think about that one.
Unless the hole gets wider.
Oh, there's a lot to this hole. We've barely scratched the surface of Mel's hole.
Good for Mel.
We are a single knuckle deep in Mel's hole, and we're about to go fathoms deep into it.
Alrighty.
I have no idea how deep a fathom is, but it's pretty fucking deep, I think. It's deep enough that they measure shit in it.
If you say so.
Or leagues, if you will.
Don't
20,000 leagues under the sea.
Don't know how many leagues 20,000 is.
Depends on what sport it is.
Okay.
That was a bad one.
That was horrible.
So Mel began a series of experiments with his hole on the property.
As they often do.
You have to experiment. When you find your hole, you have to experiment with it. It could be in a different area on your property, but holes is holes. And
That's always been my philosophy.
And they need experimentation and probing. It's just how it goes. So, one of his experiments, he lowered a roll of lifesavers into the hole. So he put candy in his hole to detect if any water was at the bottom of his hole.
How is lifesavers going to detect water?
Because they would dissolve
Oh.
if they were to hit water.
I say put Mentos down and see if it's cold.
It was, why the fuck? See, now that would be a fucking story. Mel's hole's filled with overcarbonated beverage. Carbonated hole. Diet Cola, if you will.
Hola.
Boom. So that was the thing. Which, I mean, really,
I
if you
get
think about it, it's kind of smart. Like,
But how long? I've never seen the. I have no idea how long it takes lifesavers to dissolve in water.
I probably would imagine less licks than it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. Because as we're about to find out, you ain't licking your way to the bottom of Mel's hole.
Nobody knows how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop.
But it takes 3 licks and a chomp if you have a beak.
That's true. Most people do a couple licks and then chomp.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So
Nobody has the patience to count the licks.
I don't know if I've ever not bit into a Tootsie Pop.
I don't think anybody can claim they have.
Even if you I've gotten close to the center, you know what I mean, but eventually you have to bite it. There's no way that you're not getting all that candy off with a normal human being's patience.
Nope.
So basically what we're saying is Mel's hole is very much like a Tootsie Pop.
We don't know.
We don't know how far it is to this, how long it takes to get to the center, but there's a chocolatey surprise.
Okay.
Low-hanging fruit.
Oh, this whole episode's obviously low-hanging fruit.
You got to pick it. So he sends the lifesavers down, trying to reach the bottom of the hole. He was using fishing line. Allegedly, on this occasion and or multiple other occasions, he went through 80,000 feet of fishing line, which is over 15 miles, and never reached the bottom. Never found water, never reached the bottom. Now, there is the argument that has been made when you have that much, it was monofilament line, just fishing line.
Right.
I guess he went to, he was doing this with like his fishing equipment, and he never reached the bottom. So he got to the point where he was just buying those spools that they have at like Bass Pro and shit to refill people's spools, and allegedly went through. And I guess he knew some, like he knew like shark fishermen or longliners or something like that he got shit from. And there's the argument that's been made via the interwebs that once you get that much line, even though monofilament line is incredibly light per like inch or foot, when you get 15 miles of it, the weight of the line itself, because he did have like a 1 pound weight at the bottom of it, but the weight of the line itself past a certain point would be enough to hold down the everything suspended above it, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Effectively saying, people are saying that effectively you would not effectively be able to tell if it had bottomed out at that point, because there's so much line already.
It's just gonna keep unraveling and following.
Yeah.
Following once it gets a tipping point.
The tension is too high on one end. It's not going to give up. It's just going to be inevitable that it's going to continue to pull upon the line.
I can see that.
Valid argument. I don't know the fucking science behind that shit, because everybody knows I'm not a scientist. I am a rogue scholar at best. Now, at that point, this was about 1997, and Mel sent a fax to the Coast to Coast AM show describing his hole to them. I don't know if he sent pictures. And shortly thereafter, he was on the show for the first time. He was on the show multiple times over the years. So let's talk about some characteristics of Mel's hole. Mel's hole was about 9 feet wide.
It's a big hole. It's a gaping hole.
It is. It is.
No, don't do it.
I got nothing. Like that's a large hole.
That is.
He just, I was listening to him on Coast to Coast AM. He was like, Art Bell was like, that's not a small hole. He's like, no, it's larger than an average person is tall. I was like, yeah, no shit, Mel. Like, I'm 6 feet tall, and apparently I'm above average. Of course, I don't think you have to explain that 9 feet is wider, bigger across than a human being should be, from top T to B, top to bottom, if you will. So your hole's bigger than most men. That's your cross to bear, bud. Now, he told Art about his 9-foot hole that he found on the property. And according to Mel, the hole had several peculiar characteristics. Yes, he had a peculiar hole, this man. Now, it was seemingly bottomless, as we've already said. He asserted that he dropped various objects into the hole, including ropes and weighted items, without ever reaching the bottom, which we've already covered. We will get further into that part of the hole later. Temperature anomalies. Mel Waters reported that the hole exhibited unusual temperature fluctuations with extreme heat or cold experienced near its vicinity, regardless of weather conditions. So sometimes this hole was hot, sometimes this hole was cold. I don't know how about everybody else. I feel like you would prefer a hot hole than a cold hole.
I'm keeping my mouth shut because I'm the immature one of this
Keep
podcast.
your hole shut.
I'm keeping my gaping hole shut.
Now, strange animal behavior.
Oh.
Some locals claim that animals, particularly dogs, would avoid the area by like up to or over 100 feet, I saw. Or display signs of distress when near the hole. Like, I heard, I can't remember if it was Mel or somebody else talking about, like, they literally were trying to, like, fucking drag their dog by the leash and collar closer to this thing, and they just wouldn't do it.
Dog ain't having it. Dog ain't stupid.
The dog's not into your hole. That's illegal.
Did they put peanut butter around the hole?
I don't know. That's an interesting thought. That is an interesting thought. Was it a peanut butter hole? Was it a glory hole?
What? The Jolly Green Giant's glory hole? Jesus.
Maybe it's Mother Earth's glory hole. Was it a hidey hole? Was it a cubby hole?
I don't know. It's just a hole.
Was it a mole hole? No.
It was one hell of a mole.
It was none of these things. It was the one and only Mel's hole. And that's all I got.
That's all we got.
So, healing properties. This Mel's hole had healing properties as well, apparently. There were anecdotal accounts of individuals experiencing miraculous healing effects after visiting or being near Mel's Hole.
Sweet.
Yeah, I don't think any of them ever dipped their toes into Mel's Hole. For all we know, you could have got superpowers from that.
Or jump in. What if they jumped in?
That you'd never be seen again. But you'd be strong and healthy as fuck. You'd basically be John Cena.
There you go.
John Cena. I saw fucking those videos I was telling you about. Sidebar that I was that you've seen that I'm addicted to.
With
the simulations of car crashes and shit.
Yes.
He was like, which famous person's car could make it over these potholes safely at their top speed? And one of them was John Cena's car. It was John Cena's Ford GT, and there was just no picture. I was like, wait, why is there? Oh, I get it, because you can't see him.
Oh, I thought he lost that. They took it from him or something.
What, you can't see me?
No, the
GT?
Yeah, because there's something about, if you buy one, you can't sell it immediately. Because they didn't want people just doing quick turnover.
Like everybody was doing with the fucking, what was it, the Civic Type R that came out a couple years ago?
And I guess he bought one and then tried to sell it.
Huh.
Real quick. I don't know.
How'd they know? He's invisible.
Man, Ford knows everything.
Hey, I drive a Ford. Found on road dead. Fixed or repaired daily.
Yeah.
Fucked over, returned to dealer.
Or fucked over, rebuilt Dodge.
Yeah, I'd rather have a Dodge. Depending on the Dodge. Dodge trucks. You know it's no longer Dodge Ram, it's just Ram. It's its own entity now.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, that's why if you pay attention, I didn't know that, and then I started noticing you don't see Dodge anywhere. You just see the Ram emblem and Ram on the back now.
Very interesting.
You think they ever parked a Ram in Mel's Hole? You think they ever rammed Mel's Hole?
No.
Let me know in the comments if you ever rammed Mel's Hole. I hope to God we just have an onslaught of fucking comments about that. That's hilarious. Excuse me. It's also claimed that birds would not land or perch on the stone retaining wall at the opening of the hole.
Yes,
I left that out. Sorry. There was a bit of a stone retaining wall that went down to a certain extent, but not horribly far.
Like a well type,
Kinda, yeah. And then he would cover it with corrugated steel to, because it's a fucking bottomless hole, You should probably put a fucking lid on it.
Probably.
You should cover your hole from the public, is what I'm
saying. Especially
saying.
if it doesn't have an end. If it doesn't have a bottom.
Yeah, your Healy hole. Your garbage hole. Your cadaver hole. Well, not cadaver, but dead cattle hole.
Did the mob know about this? This would solve a lot of the mob's problems.
That's an interesting thought.
They wouldn't have to be burying people in the desert.
I don't know which mafia is relevant in Washington State. Probably Polish or some shit, you'd think.
I don't know. We know the Gambinos didn't get that far because they would have had nice. That's where Jimmy Hoffa is.
I could see the Irish
That's
mafia.
where Hoffa is. That's why we.
He's in Mel's Hole.
He's in Mel's Hole.
Jimmy Hoffa's been hanging out, dangling in Mel's Hole for all these years, just falling for eternity into the forever non-ending abyss. And also, there's the fact that it's clearly, let's be real, there's no such thing as a bottomless hole. It's got to end somewhere.
Or does it?
The core of the earth. But that's the crazy thing. We've already talked about this. The deepest hole on that we know of, the deepest. Well, actually, the one that I knew about is not the deepest one anymore.
Wasn't it in Russia?
It was,
oh.
But an oil company, a big oil company, I can't remember which one, actually drilled deeper apparently by a little bit. But they still have they would all still have 60,000 feet before they broke the crust. And then 21 million feet before they hit the core or some shit like that. It just ain't going to happen. The one in Russia, they can't dig anymore because they don't have the materials to withstand the heat and the pressure of not pressure, but the tools that can withstand the heat while also doing their operations.
Makes sense.
Properly. Try them out in Mel's Hole. Put your tools in Mel's Hole. Russia. This sounds like a Russia thing. I feel like Russia would enjoy Mel's Hole. Bring some vodka and some fucking taters and just have a party all over that hole.
Leave it to the Russians.
The healing properties.
Yeah, let's get to the healing. I'm interested about this.
It was a healing hole. There were anecdotal accounts of individuals experiencing miraculous healing effects after visiting or being near Mel's hole. One man claimed that his hunting dog had passed away after years of faithful service, and he laid his dog to rest by dropping the body into Mel's hole. It's like, I love you, Spot. You're a great fucking coon hound or bird dog, whatever. Later.
Then did it hear barking?
No.
Okay.
But no, because
Well, how do we know it healed?
Because that was not uncommon. Just people just used to go here just to dump shit. Like the neighbors would throw their fucking garbage down here and shit, and like nobody ever saw it again. So they were like, "Well, guess there ain't no problem there."
Shut ain't piling up.
Thanks, Mel. Thanks for letting me use your hole here
Now,
every once in a while.
My question is, Mel might be an idiot. Did he charge these people for this?
Right. Hey, Mel, I'm gonna need to use your hole when the wife's out of town. I got some shit to get rid of. I got some stuff I got to get off my chest, if you will.
I would be charging. I'm a greedy bastard. If I have a hole that does not fill, I am charging.
Especially if it's getting used this much, you would imagine he would have to trim the brush around his hole.
It's a sore topic right now. I don't want to talk about that.
Fair enough. The same man who threw his dog down the hole.
Okay, threw his dog down the hole.
That's just a dignified burial. How'd you bury our
See ya.
adored, loved dog of many years that our children wept over when he died? Chuck that fucker in a hole. Let's go down to the puppy mill, get another one.
That's a redneck for you.
Yeah. Now, that same man claims to have seen his dog, that dog, at a later date in the woods, and it seemed as if the dog was out on a hunt with somebody else.
Please.
I know. Could it not just be
Another fucking dog?
right?
I don't know.
Was it just not another blue tick hound?
I mean, you know me.
Well, apparently, like allegedly, he said it like same collar and everything. Which, you know me, I'm a collar man. I got old dumb fuck Magoo over there, your big dog, a very lovely collar.
Yeah, you did.
It's cute. It's got a mountainscape on it.
It does. And
It's got rose gold hardware.
he's feeling a little feminine right now. He told me his pronouns the other day.
Oh, was he talking about Mel's hole?
Yes.
So yeah, that's a thing. Ghost dogs.
I know.
Or at least that ghost dog.
But come on, dude.
Oh yeah, I don't put a whole lot into that.
It's a hunting dog, so they're going to look. All dogs look of the same breed are going to look a little bit similar.
Now, if he said it was a 3-legged dog with half a tail and like one ear, then I might be like, now you got my attention, sir. Let's talk about this whole dog.
And I'm sure the collar that he bought, it was not a one-off.
Yeah, it was
sure
probably a fucking Tractor Supply high-vis special, which you should get your hunting dogs. Nothing wrong with that.
I'm going to need much more proof than this, jackass.
Oh, I agree. Like there could have been more detail to this one, I think. And also, haven't heard from this man personally, so I cannot credit him for his experience with Mel's hole. Now, Mel also claims that from time to time there would be a beam of light that emitted out into the sky from his hole. Well, but it wasn't really light in the traditional sense. It was like he described it as a beam that was blacker than black. So, an emanating ray of darkness from his hole, just into the sky. Yeah, I know, right? Which just sounds so perfectly ominous that I feel like it's just bullshit.
In your research, is there any evidence of Mel making moonshine?
In his hole?
Just a period, because I think he's
That's
getting
really
high.
dangerous. You shouldn't put liquor in your hole.
I just think he's getting high on his own supply.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
But there's so much randomness to this one. So yeah, big black thing shooting out of Mel's hole. Check.
Got it.
He also claimed that the hole would cause metals to unexplainably turn into different metals.
Well, alchemy going on here.
Yeah, right?
How much gold does Mel have now?
He doesn't need gold by the time we're done with this story. If all of it's true, you just hold your horses. His hole is a moneymaker.
I've had a few of those.
His hole is a fucking cash cow. He's his hole's like it's the Riley Reid of holes.
There's an Amazon show about
Probably.
They
touch
it's got
on
Thanos in it. What's his name? Brolin.
Yeah, they touch on Mel's hole in Skinwalker Ranch as well.
But there's a whole.
Skinwalker touched Mel's hole.
Of course he did. But I believe that I forget what it's called, but it's got Thanos in it. It's an Amazon original.
Oh no!
It's kind of a farmer found a big hole in his yard or his land, and
I mean, now we know if you want to get famous, find a fucking bottomless pit on your land. Because we're gonna get into it. He found more than one. Yeah.
How convenient.
And he also said that the hole had strange effects on electronics. So one of his anecdotes was that or scenarios, I guess, whatever. He said that he once set his radio on the edge of the hole, and instead of playing music, it started like emitting strange voices and talking, and also like a mixture of programs from the past.
Was this a hole to hell?
That's one of the theories.
Huh.
Now, let's talk about a 1943 Roosevelt dime, shall we?
What's that got to do with Mel's hole?
Shut your hole.
Okay. My hole is bottomless.
The only hole that shall be open is Mel's. It shall be. We shall stretch the truth out of it.
Just next to Mel's diner. Most of the people who listen to the show will not get that reference.
Now, Mel Waters manufactured a particular folk art belt buckle with a design which incorporated a silver fork and coins depicting Joseph Stalin, Winston Churchill, and President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The Roosevelt portrait consisting of a U.S. dime. When allegedly kidnapped by the government, Mel's own belt buckle had been removed, and according to Mel, a number of these belt buckles included a Roosevelt dime with a 1943 mint date with a B mint mark, which is odd because there is no mint using a B designation, and the first Roosevelt dime was not released until 1946, after Roosevelt's death in 1945. On Coast to Coast AM, Mel and Art Bell speculate that the dime came from an alternate universe where the Axis powers won the war, with the B standing for Berlin, which also implies the death of President Roosevelt prior to 1943.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Now, 10 of these 1943 Roosevelt dimes were found by Mel near the hole in a red envelope as used for gift money at Chinese New Year, which that is a tradition. That is a thing. That checks out. Mel's hole, I don't know about the legitimacy of that hole. We know about Chinese New Year. Ni hao ma. A 1943 Roosevelt dime given to a friend of Mel's was allegedly confiscated by agents of the U.S. Treasury. In a later interview, Mel claimed the 1943 dime could not be photographed and would even become invisible from more than 15 feet away. Dimes are pretty fucking small.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it would be invisible from 15 feet away, but I feel like you'd have to look for it. You definitely wouldn't be able to see old fucking Rosie on there.
No, you couldn't make out what was on, but you could probably see as an object, I would think. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
turn it sideways. Waha! Magic. I'm David Blaine.
15 feet away is about to that air conditioner over there, probably.
Oh, the one in the west wing of the mansion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably about, I mean,
give or take.
If the lighting's right,
you could see it for sure.
I don't know. It'd be
you
tough.
would be able to tell that there's an object there.
Yeah. My vision, I couldn't see it. I couldn't see if it was sitting on my nose.
Yeah, so that's a thing. We're almost halfway through this already.
I'm looking at your outline.
Yeah.
I'm not really excited about this next one.
You stop reading now.
This could get us banned on YouTube.
I see a comment in the chat. It says GoPro with night vision tied to fishing line. Not a bad idea. But one, I don't think anybody currently, other than certain powers that be that we will get to, know the location of this hole. I don't know if Mel Waters is still alive at this point. I honestly don't. I stopped looking into it because I was like, I'm getting too deep into this man's hole. I need to dig myself out a little bit and go shower and talk to Jesus. But also, it does come a point where you have to worry about the heat affecting electronics and shit. when you get so far down
True,
into a hole.
But if it's never ending, I mean, eventually it has to end somewhere. It has to.
Unless it's like a black hole, unless it's a portal.
We could get to that.
Which is like one thing that I've never heard as a fucking legitimate argument for any bottomless pit. Not even the one in 300. And they're Spartan kicking motherfuckers down there like mad.
I mean, is it a black hole?
I mean
that you know.
You meant at the bottom of the hole,
right?
Okay, I was gonna say I think Mel's white, but
no, I was not.
His hole was black.
You racist.
You asked the question. I don't see color.
No, I was talking about as an actual black hole.
It could be,
but
then wouldn't it envelop wouldn't it just the fucking Earth? Theoretically, unless it was on some type of other astrological plane within our own crust.
Maybe John Titor's time machine is down there with its dual singularities.
Down there with Hitler and fucking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Michael Jackson and the Cuban Castro.
Oh, Fidel.
Infidelity Castro.
Hey, what he did on his own time is not my problem.
Fucking Albert Einstein.
I don't know. Let's get to this next one.
Okay, are you looking at the sheep experiment?
Yeah, I want to hear about the
seal entity, the sheep experiment in Mel's hole.
Yeah, I want to hear about the sheep experiment.
All right, here we go. In an attempt to lower a living sheep to the 1,500-foot level, a subject sheep was led to the hole. However, when it got close, the sheep became very agitated and had to be stunned to get it into the crate. So they tried to lead the sheep to the hole. The sheep didn't like the hole, so they stunned the sheep in order to put it in the hole, to experiment with the sheep in Mel's hole.
Sheep are always getting screwed over.
They really are. Now,
of course, you sure it was the hole that scared the sheep, not Mel himself?
I love how she just lets herself in and out of her own cage.
She does.
We're going to find out. Now, when the stunned sheep in the crate was placed over the hole, the sheep woke up again and began making piercing screaming noises and thrashing around inside of this crate. Clearly, PETA didn't know about this because I'm not even a PETA guy, really. But I feel like if I was there, I'd be like, come on, let's let the sheep out. He's clearly not enjoying his experience with Mel's hole right now. It is not an enjoyable, pleasurable experience being in Mel's hole. We should release him. But that's just me. That's just a fat guy that does a fucking shitty podcast somewhere in the wilderness of the Amazon.
Oh, did we move again? Damn.
Yeah, we're in the Amazon now.
Did we go to
we're at Paul Rasoli's research facility.
Did we jump into Mel's hole and pop out in Brazil?
Yes, we jumped into Mel's hole in a DeLorean or a 67 Stingray because,
That's way cooler than the DeLorean.
I don't know. The DeLorean had the most stupid fucking doors of all time. Those gull wing doors that you couldn't open in a normal parking spot.
Yeah, that's true.
That was that for a design flaw.
Let's make it out of stainless steel, the heaviest metal.
Yeah. Let's just make it one fucking color, too. Excuse me while I must take a break from talking about Mel's hole to wet my whistle. A lubrication break, if you will. Now, the crate was lowered to about 700 feet, at which point the vibrations could no longer be felt. And then when the cable... What is she doing?
She's right there.
Being a little shit. They lowered it to about 700 feet, at which point the vibrations could no longer be felt. And when the cable had been lowered to its full length of 1,500 feet, the metal collar around the hole began to vibrate. Yeah. A vibrating collar on Mel's hole. Involving a sheep. Now, the crated sheep was left for half an hour and winched back up to the surface where it was found to be dead. Good call. We're in good tonight. Now, externally, the dead sheep seemed to be the same as when lowered, but inside, and this is in quotes, The sheep looked like it had been cooked. In addition, a jellied blob filled the body cavity where the internal organs normally would be, described by Mel as looking like a huge tumor. The, quote, "It's not a tumor." The tumor was removed, and the experimenters believed they saw some movement inside of the tumor. And when they cut it open, the tumor released a, quote, "fetal seal with human-looking eyes connected to the tumor with an umbilical cord, and the, quote, seal seemed to have a hold on those present. And it and the human experimenters viewed each other for over 2 hours. Yeah.
I'm going to call bullshit on this.
Yeah, I know. We're not even done yet. Now, according to Mel, the seal seemed to him to be, quote, "filled with compassion." And after nodding to the experimenters, it dove back into the hole. The tumor and sheep remains were bundled in a tarp and thrown back into the hole. And when I first was writing out these notes and it said it dove back into the hole, all I could think of was that have you seen that video of that sea lion that's like escaping a restaurant, and it's like and it just fucking like it yeets itself off this like 15-foot fucking platform into the ocean. It's hilarious. But that's all I could think of. So yeah, they threw all the evidence back in the hole too. So
sure, I get that.
Believable. But Ripley's Believe It or Not.
I'm not buying it, but okay.
Now, Mel claims that he was diagnosed with esophageal cancer prior to his experience at the second hole. We'll get that. Afterwards, now, yes, that sucks. You know, nobody likes cancer. That's bad. Sorry, Mel. The cancer was entirely gone with no evidence it had ever existed, and Mel feels that he was healed by the... Go somewhere. Go over there. Go. We're talking about Mel's hole. We don't need a chalupa right now. That's a whole different episode. Keep going. Little bitch. Where was I? There's no evidence it had ever existed, and Mel feels that he was healed by the seal-like entity from the sheep carcass.
The seal with human eyes?
Yeah. Okay. And in a later interview, he claimed the seal entity was now making regular visits to the Basque shepherds camping around the surface of the Nevada hole, which we're coming up to right now. And the seal was said to communicate with the shepherds through a portable radio. However, when recorded, only a series of unintelligible sounds resulted, as one might hear in interference or on a shortwave transmission. This second hole we speak of is after his appearance on Coast to Coast AM in 2000. He's been on there several times. Mel claimed on a subsequent appearance that he had found a second hole. Mel has 2 holes now.
Okay.
This second hole is on public land in Nevada under the management of the Federal Bureau of Land Management, and the land nearby is used by Native Americans as well as, quote, members of the Basque community who were using the land for grazing sheep. It comes full circle back to Mel's 2 holes.
I guess.
It all comes back to Mel's 2 holes.
Okay.
Now, as the first hole, the second hole itself is 9 feet in diameter. But unlike the first hole, the Nevada hole has a solid metal liner or collar sticking out of the ground 2 feet high and 2 feet deep. So 4 feet, you would imagine.
Okay, I got you.
This collar has notches in it, and Mel speculated on Coast to Coast, quote, "In my estimation, it could possibly be a locking collar. Something could be lowered onto it and locked into place."
Sure, we'll go with that.
So this man's got sheep, 2 holes, and a locking collar.
Sounds like a party.
That's what I'm talking about. Now, the collar around the second hole is of a substance that is unusual, with unusual paranormal properties. Yes. Mel dropped a box wrench on the metal collar. The wrench made no noise, implying that the collar absorbs the sound or energy of something being dropped on it or hitting it. Shut up. Now, the hole is, quote, solidly lined with this metal as far as one can see into the hole.
Sure.
Now, even in winter, The area around the metal collar is warm to the touch and will keep nearby tents warm. However, the metal collar is not hot to the touch. Which, sidebar, not really sidebar, thought. If this metal, whether we know what it is or not, all metal has some type of conductive property.
Correct.
If this metal goes down far enough, theoretically, would it not conduct heat from further underground, which might then possibly radiate from the expanse of the metal from wherever the heat is being inducted into it?
Correct.
And spreading outwards from it.
It would. That's pretty much the basis of thermal heating.
Thermodynamics.
Well,
in general.
There's houses that are heated that way.
With Mel's hole?
No, with just a hole in the ground.
Oh.
You know, the heat from the earth.
So Mel's got an extra hot hole.
Yeah, so it would. You are correct.
Was it in West Virginia?
No, it was just right down the street here. I forget what the actual term for geothermal heating or something like that.
That sounds about right. We'll go with that. Now, according to Mel, local Basques say the hole has been there in its current state for their community's entire experience, which dates back to the 1800s. And one man had personal recollection of the hole since he was young, over 70 years ago, at the time of the interview. So, around the 30s.
So the hole's been there a while?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really old hole.
Got it.
The hole occasionally emits a black beam, Mel said. And this is a contradiction, but a black beam of light, okay. Oh, wait, sorry, this is a quote. This is a contradiction, but a black beam of light, okay, comes from the hole. It lasts a very short time, but it just goes directly up to the sky. That's a quote from Mel himself. This is also a quote. If you had a flashlight and it was capable of throwing up a solid black ... I have never personally witnessed the black beam. Sorry, no. First quote, Mel. Second quote, not. I forgot to put a bullet point behind that. That is my mistake. Now, there is ongoing Basque connection with the two holes Mel discovered. Mel's a lot of Basque with Mel's two holes. This community is very deeply rooted in Mel's two holes. I guess really only one of them says. And even that the ownership of the hole at this point is very fuzzy. Very fuzzy hole.
Does this hole really exist?
We don't know.
Okay.
We do not know the exact location of the hole. We might know why here in a minute.
Okay.
Now, the shepherds living around the second hole in Nevada were all from the Basque community, and in addition, a whale bone was found near the first hole, which Mel implied could have Basque origins due to what he asserts is a history of whaling in Basque culture. So this might be a native thing.
Well, isn't Basque island off Spain?
There is a Basque region.
The Basque people they're Spain I believe it's off Spain. Okay.
It's in Spain.
Well, I thought it was an island off the coast.
Oh, it might be. I think it's a whole region.
Okay. All right.
Because they do a lot of stone lifting. I only know that because Martins Licis went there. The dragon himself.
Okay.
He's dragging stones across Mel's hole.
Well, it's 9 feet. It's a lot of dragon.
So there's a potentially a deeply rooted, long lasting. I don't know if native peoples is the right term, but like further back than white folk. We'll go with that.
Okay.
Than an Anglo-Saxon male such as Mel. Now let's talk about burning ice. Shall we?
Sure.
In an experiment with the Nevada hole.
So Mel had property in Nevada or Washington and Nevada?
No. This was the hole he found in Nevada was not on his property.
Oh, okay.
This is on public grounds.
What's the odds of some goofy ass person running into two holes just like this?
Because he's just that fucking good.
Don't think so.
So, where were we?
Burning ice.
Yeah, burning ice. This shit's kind of interesting. Now, in an experiment with the Nevada hole, again, repeating myself, Mel and assorted Basque locals lowered a bucket of ice they bought from the grocery store. Excuse me. One bucket of ice was lowered 1,500 feet into the hole, and the other bucket of ice was kept at the surface as a control. By the time half the ice on the surface bucket had melted, the bucket in the hole was retrieved. To their surprise, the ice in the lower bucket had not melted, and additionally was no longer cold to the touch. The ice had been changed in an unidentified way and was described by Mel as having a texture like silica desiccant, which is found in packaged food.
Huh.
Yeah. As a further experiment, the bucket of unmelted ice was placed on a cooking fire, and instead of melting, the ice began to, quote, burn, as described by Mel Waters. Quote, it was not so much a flame as kind of a ... Have you ever used a gas stove? It was like the barest turning of a gas stove on. Sure. It was like that last flicker before you turn it off. Yeah.
Oh God. Gotcha, Mel.
The former ice cubes burning slightly. So
ice that doesn't melt.
But burns.
Okay.
We're getting some Game of Thrones shit popping off now.
If there were a dragon pop out of this hole, I'd buy that just as much as this bullshit.
Dragon holes. Now, additional trials of the same experiment have resulted in melted ice, unchanged ice, and occasionally, about 1 out of 3 times, more of this burning ice. The new substance could be used as a source of heat. This, quote, one guy took some stuff home, he put it in his wood stove, and the thing's been keeping his place warm for over 3 months. This man reported to Mel that steam from a nearby kettle was absorbed by the burning ice and that the area surrounding the burning ice was always very dry.
Dry ice.
Now, after a few months, for unknown reasons, the stove with the burning ice crashed through the floor of the man's cabin, and weeks later the man returned to find the entire cabin collapsed into, quote, wood dust, which Mel attributed to all the moisture being sucked out of the wood by the burning ice. And on a later visit, the stove with the burning ice had sunk 5 feet into the ground.
Well, if it was sucking moisture out of the wood, wouldn't it, and since we are made of, 98% water?
Would it not
suck
remove
the moisture out of
from
somebody right there?
Could it possibly be the protective aspect of our dermis, maybe? We don't know.
I don't know.
We know not. Now, a team of unknown researchers, speculated by Mel as possibly being related to the government, appeared later at the site of the cabin and attempted to use construction equipment and metal chains to remove the stove. Upon pouring water into the hole created by the stove, the metal chains fused with the stove, and the stove was successfully lifted by multiple construction cranes. The stove was then loaded onto a large truck and driven away.
So Men in Black came and got it.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Will Smith, Tommy Lee Jones, the reg. Whoever the fuck else was in that movie. In a later appearance on Coast to Coast, yet again, Mel brings up the fictional substance Ice 9, invented by writer Kurt Vonnegut in his novel Cat's Cradle. Mel compares the burning ice to Ice 9. Now, critics question the authenticity of Mel Waters' claims. No way. Suggesting that the story may be embellished or entirely fabricated, and skeptics point to the lack of concrete evidence and inconsistencies in Waters' narrative.
No.
I know, right? Let's get to some government involvement, shall we?
Oh, yeah, let's get to this.
We knew there was some big government going on in Mel's Hole.
I would think the government would be interested in this hole.
2 places government loves being: Epstein Island and Mel's Hole.
It could be the same place.
Probably is.
Maybe that's where the hole ends up. Just saying.
No way. Facts. It's a fact. Now, government involvement. Conspiracy theories emerged alleging government involvement in this phenomenon, and shortly after the broadcast, men identified by Mel as government agents told him that there was a plane crash nearby and that he could not approach the hole. The government then offered to pay Mel a large monthly stipend to lease the land in perpetuity on the order of $250,000 a month or $3 million a year. Mel used this money to move to Australia and founded a wombat rescue operation. The payments continued from March 1997 through the beginning of 2000. So, $10 million, give or take.
Now, okay, has this been documented?
Has anything been documented?
I mean,
on Coast to Coast AM it has.
oh, okay. I mean, did he really? Was there a man named Mel?
Not that we don't know. There has. We'll probably get to. I think I have it in here. There has never been record of a Mel Waters owning property in this part of Washington at that time, which is damning evidence until people start going, well, if the government got that involved in it, they probably got rid of any record of anybody holding that land other than them, which is also would realistically probably be true.
I guess, but
oh, there's also like there's allegedly places where there's been times where people have found what they say is Mel's Hole with like Google Maps and shit like that, and then like it's like there will just be a missing piece of map after that, and then the next time you go, it will just be forest.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of time. But
Nor do I.
Obviously somebody took the time to research it to know that Mel took the money, went to Australia, and opened up a wombat fucking rescue, which is
right.
Oddly
specific.
Right. I mean,
what else is he going to do? I mean, he can't say he opened a kangaroo rescue. It's like open season in kangaroo in Australia.
Well, they're little bastards.
And they're overpopulated.
Right.
Like there is no season on kangaroo, which apparently has a massively high protein content, much like Mel's Hole. But yeah, I agree. The wombat rescue is
specific.
Very specific. But at the same time, it's not.
I mean, what was his fascination with wombats? I mean,
maybe he wanted to throw them down a hole.
I guess.
But also, it's not that specific if he went to Australia. He's like, all right, fuck. How do I seem Australian? Wombat, kangaroo, wallaby, echidna. Yeah, wombat seems like the easiest option, right?
Who's going
They
to
seem
check
like
this?
they'd give up the least fight when I try to stick him in my hole. And also, maybe he did want to experiment with his hole with the wombats. What is a wombat but a giant fucking gerbil?
Okay, now
he's just felching on a 9-foot wide scale.
Now we've crossed the line.
No, Mel crossed the line putting a sheep in his hole and killing it. He cooked a sheep in his hole.
But he gave birth to a human-eyed seal.
Yeah.
That could talk telepathically.
Yeah. Duh. Now, some speculate that government agencies conducted secret experiments or operations in the area, while others believe there was an intentional cover-up of the truth behind Mel's Hole. Or was there an intentional cover-up of the truth within Mel's Hole?
Sure.
That could be that's the biggest double entendre so far. Because who knows what's going on in that hole of his?
I don't even know this hole exists.
Both comedically and literally. Now in December of 1999, Mel returned to the U.S., and while on a bus to Olympia, Washington, Mel witnessed an altercation between police officers and another passenger. And he was taken off the bus to sign a police statement, and the next thing Mel remembers is walking around San Francisco 12 days later. He had been physically beaten, and his rear molars were extracted. And there was an IV scar on his arm, which convinced him that he had been drugged. Fair enough. And upon his return to the hole, Mel was served with papers indicating that his ownership was now in question due to modifications that had been made, presumably by the government tenants. Mel's assets were frozen for unstated reasons, and his wombat rescue facility in Australia was dismantled.
Well, what are they going to do with all the wombats?
So let them go, I guess. Like, there you go, mate.
That seems
Have
awful.
yourself a wee little run.
That seems awful mean and cruel to the wombat.
Go dig a hole. Get eaten up by a goanna. Or maybe get bit by a fucking inland taipan. Most deadly fucking snake in the world. Perhaps get bit by a funnel web spider. Yeah, huntsman spider, the ones that are fucking frying pans across.
Oh, boy.
Go on down there to Catherine Knight's house. She'll cook you up some of her fucking husband.
Yeah.
Maybe go catch a rugby match. Are they matches? Sure.
We'll go with that.
Ooey, oggy, oggy, oggy. Oi, oi, oi. Forsters. Boomerang. Fucking crikey. So yeah. They took his. That's the real injustice here. Like, the mystery of Mel's Hole is one thing, but they took the man's fucking wombats.
It's a
Have you
travesty.
seen a wombat?
I'm sure I have, but
They're adorable.
I'll take your word for it.
They look like giant. Well, I don't know what they look like. A capybara kind of looks like a giant guinea pig. A wombat looks like. I'm trying to think. Like, if you took like a koala bear kinda, but made it like walk on all fours, quadrupedal, not climbing, and then mixed it in with like some guinea pig, and then like made it fat.
We're fat shaming wombats now.
Yeah. Let's go. It's friendly fire. I'm fat too. It's okay. Now, let's go with some unfinished experiments. A local Basque man volunteered to be lowered into the second hole. However, he was convinced to reconsider by Mel and the other experimenters. Probably a good call if any of the shit that happened is true. Do you want to come up pregnant with a man seal? I do not think you do. That does not sound pleasant. Now, Mel Waters expressed his wish to have his body thrown into the Nevada hole after his death. Why?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess.
So he could come up hunting with that dog later on.
Right, yeah. He's like, oh, because why do you want that to happen, Mel? Because I'll fucking come back to life, you idiot. Have you paid attention to anything I've said? Duh. Now, let's talk about a little bit of the investigation into this. There's not a whole lot of concrete any of this, despite widespread interest and speculation. There has been no conclusive investigation.
No,
That's the long and short of it. Nobody has investigated Mel's Hole.
probably because Mel's Hole does not exist.
Or they just don't want to admit to investigating his hole.
Okay.
They're keeping his hole in the closet, if you will.
Okay. That's a possibility. But I'm not buying it.
I mean, we are a Christian forward country. It might be the investigation of Mel's Hole might be something that you might want to hide from your friends and family until you're comfortable.
Very true.
Efforts to locate the exact site described by Waters have been unsuccessful, and there's a limited physical evidence to support the claims in general. Period.
Shocker.
No way. Some cultural impact. Mel's Hole has captured the imagination of the public and has become a subject of fascination in pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
As we see here, that we're sitting here fucking talking about it. It has been featured in books, documentaries, and online forums, sparking debates among enthusiasts of the paranormal and unexplained. In summary, Mel's Hole remains a captivating enigma, with its origins and veracity still shrouded in mystery. While some believe it to be genuine anomaly with extraordinary properties, others dismiss it as a hoax or urban legend. Regardless, the legend of Mel's Hole continues to intrigue and inspire curiosity.
And inspire Amazon Prime series with Thanos.
And I have it written there. If you think about the area that it's in the Pacific Northwest, heavily wooded. Redwoods, fucking temporal forests, rainforests damn near, thickets, very thick land, mountainous in some regions.
Correct.
So there are things hidden in this in certain parts of the country that we might not know about or we might not think exists. Things like Mel's Hole, perhaps. Things like Mel's Hole that have no destination that we know of, or do we because we don't? Do we not have the power to unlock the fathoms of depth of mystery of Mel's Hole, and other creatures or things in this world might use it to either hide or move in between dimensions? Therefore, this is where fucking Bigfoot lives. Bigfoot's real. He's in Mel's Hole. You heard it here first. Take it to the fucking bank. Bigfoot lives there. That is why. That is why I believe in Mel's Hole, because Bigfoot lives there. Too cold for the chupacabra? I might wrangle that bitch in there too.
Maybe. You might be correct. But I'm going to say no.
I would say I'm as correct as anything else we've talked about tonight. Hey, if a human-eyed seal can come out of this hole, why can't Bigfoot?
I'm really starting to doubt Coast to Coast. And
Coast to Coast takes calls from anybody.
God, after... I could buy the John Teeter time traveling shit more than this shit. I mean, let's be honest.
You're telling me you wouldn't buy Mel's Hole?
No. Mel's Hole does not exist. Mel does not exist.
It's kind of sounded like you used to have a romantic entanglement with old Mel here. No. And his hole just doesn't exist to you anymore.
Never been to Washington.
Well, he's a jet setter. He goes all over the place.
I don't like wombats.
I heard him talking about it one time where, I guess he hitchhikes a lot. Just be getting rides from truckers. Oh. And I was like, man, I bet you they know where Mel's Hole is.
Mel might be a lot lizard. I don't give a shit.
A lot lizard. Haven't heard that term in a while.
So,
how do you feel about how does Mel's Hole feel to you?
Fascinating story. Complete bullshit, but a nice urban legend.
See, I would find it more believable if they just 86'd all the shit about the seal and the burning ice and stuff. You were just like, yeah, no, I found a bottomless pit and I measured it at this length and nothing happened. And you can't hear a big rock when you throw it down there, and the government came and told me to fuck off and give me a bunch of money. I would, at that point, I would be like, this is probably fucking true.
Would not surprise me. And if it is a bottomless pit, here's probably what it is: an access vent to an underground base.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you think about it, or it could be a portal to another dimension.
Or it could be a ventilation shaft from an alien civilization full of octopuses. That's the next experiment they need to do. They need to take a cephalopod up there and see what it does.
If it just jumps right in, fuck it, you know what it is.
If it just starts doing some weird shit with its tentacles, and then you can feel this rumbling, and just the fucking kraken starts crawling out, and you're like, ah, shit, what did we do? And this little octopus is just sitting there you fucked up, Mel. The world is ours. 180 million years in waiting.
Could this be the entrance to Hollow Earth?
The Basques are a southwestern European ethnic group characterized by Basque language, a common culture, and shared genetic ancestry to the ancient Vascons and Aquitanians. Aquitanians? The fuck is that?
I have no fucking clue.
The members of Aquatica?
Yes. Sounds made up to me.
Jason Momoa's cousins?
Mm-hmm.
The Anawahis or whatever the fuck their name is?
I guess Mel's full of shit. Art Bell's full of shit. Rest his soul.
Let's see. Basque Americans are Americans of Basque descent. No fucking shit. Basques do live in Idaho and Nevada. So if you really think about it, in that region, they could probably still be considered almost more native than we can.
Probably.
They are descendants of the people who do populate the southern part of the United States, and the Americas.
Huh, this is interesting.
I know, I just, I couldn't help but dive deep into this hole.
Are we done diving deep into holes?
It's kind of hard not to say it.
I know.
Did you not notice that every time it would say the hole in my notes, I could not stop myself from just saying Mel's Hole?
Right. I know. This was a hard one for me because I'm immature.
I knew it was going to be hard for you as soon as I started talking about Mel's Hole.
I mean, pretty much you're teeing them up.
I know, right?
But I'm trying to be professional here.
But that's why I like this one because to a certain extent, it's equally as interesting as it is immaturely funny. I
mean, here's the thing.
I think it's the seal that really sent me over the edge of not believing in any of it. The hot ice, the burning ice thing, maybe some type of chemical, some type of induction going on, some type of nuclear involvement from further down beneath the surface. could wrap my head around that a little bit more than the human seal inside the sheep.
Well, what we need to do is either if it's real, why fly a drone down there or just LiDAR?
Right.
LiDAR's a thing now.
Mm.
I'm sure it wasn't back in '97 or whenever this was.
97 was when he went public with it.
But I mean, I think this is easily answered. Or it's a hoax. Mel's full of shit.
And and there's the part of the internet that straight has shown some stuff, but being as this is probably bullshit anyway, I didn't really look into anybody's evidence disproving it because it was already kind of disproved in my head either way. But there is a whole aspect of this that it's just been debunked. Oh. And I don't think it takes a lot of effort.
Yeah, I no, it's hold on. Let me try to think. I'm gonna try to find the name of that
TV show.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, that's
Outer Range.
Outer Range.
Yeah, that's about Mel's hole, obviously.
The outer range of the inner ring.
A farmer finds a big hole in his fucking yard, and you don't know where
Black
to go.
Gold, Texas.
But I think if I'm not, I watched a couple episodes. I could make through all 8. I think of them.
I can't say that surprises me.
But I think if I remember right, I think it is a portal to another dimension, or it pops out of the sky somewhere. I don't fucking know.
So
it was horrible.
Yeah,
it's bullshit. I believe John Teeter's time traveling her 1967 Corvette fucking time machine more than this shit.
You just like this fucking Stingray.
I do. I'm a Corvette guy.
Like those big fucking overly pronounced fenders and shit.
Yeah, I'm a sassy.
That weird little luggage rack on the back. Go ahead, I'll read it. I'm a Corvette guy, even though I could get in one, but I would never be able to get back fucking out of it. I don't even think I would fit in one. But like the 70s version, like the Stingray version, I'm not a big. Well, I liked the 70s version with the when the wheel well was much more pronounced than the flatter version. When it looked like it was flaring its nostrils.
Yeah, I thin and long body.
Hard as fuck to park.
Oh fuck, sexy motherfucking car.
Oh no, I saw a Ranchero at Walmart today. I was like, huh. I drove around it just because I was like, you don't see one of those every day. Because I was like, that's not an El Camino. That's a fucking Ranchero. And then in my head, nobody would have understood it, but in my head I started singing the Canyonero song from The Simpsons. Canyonero. Watcha.
Yeah. But so, I mean, I just don't. This is a little bit much for me.
We're on the same page.
I could buy.
It's one of those ones that you know what I'm talking about because we are similar minded in a lot of ways. Like something can be bullshit, and I will still have enough interest in it to look into it. And some of it, sometimes it just gets so out there that you're like when I got to the seal thing, I'm like, okay, I can't fucking turn back now.
We went too far now. But like Bigfoot.
Well, it's his house.
Odds are Bigfoot's bullshit. Bigfoot existed at one point. We know this. But is it still walking around today? I'm open to the idea. I don't think it's...
I've seen some pretty compelling evidence lately.
I mean, I think it's very fucking possible that Bigfoot actually exists. And because, like I've said, we've had conversations about this, most people think of the wilderness through their own, what they know to be the wilderness. The continental U.S., North America is more wilderness that you cannot go to than you can't even traverse than it is. People think
heavily populated.
Right. There is so much land that there's much more hiding spaces for Bigfoot than what people really fucking.
Especially when you get out into the Pacific Northwest and up into Canada and shit like that on the East Coast or the West Coast. Like, Jesus Christ, it's just it's just unfathomably deep. Dark forest.
Right. I think that Bigfoot is more plausible than this bullshit.
Yeah,
I keep an open mind. I can give two shits about Bigfoot, But I think, it's possible that we are discovering new species every day.
And I would also, I think we discover like 150 thought to be either new or thought to be extinct or extant species every year.
I mean, if you even want to go as far, I've heard stories that woolly mammoth did not go extinct. There is woolly mammoths in Africa, or not Africa,
In Siberia?
in Alaska, and they found woolly mammoth tracks and shit like that.
I've seen that.
I can, okay. That's somewhat plausible to me. I'm open-minded, whatever. Maybe not.
What'd you see?
I'm not going to die on that hill, but Mel's Hole, I ain't touching Mel's Hole.
And plus, let's be real. I'm more interested in, like, they're talking about bringing back the woolly mammoth, which I guess is very possibly going to happen, even though it won't be a woolly mammoth.
Did we not learn anything from Jurassic Park?
But it won't even be a proper woolly mammoth because they would use African or Asian elephant genes to reproduce it. So it would still be at its core an African or Asian elephant.
Right.
And also, if we're going to do it, let's fucking do it. And if you're going to go with woolly mammoth, fuck that, do a mastodon. They're cooler, way bigger, way more vicious.
I don't care.
They're like 20 fucking feet tall or some shit, like 20,000 pounds, like almost twice the size of a fucking African elephant. That's what I'm trying to see. If you're going to do it, fucking do it.
I'm just saying it won't end well for us.
Realistically, it would be like a cave bear or a fucking cave lion would be I believe the easiest ones to replicate today. Because they're the closest in relation to a living species that we still have to experiment with.
Very interesting.
And then they're going to fuck around and try to bring back the short-faced bear, which if you don't know what a short-faced bear is, look that shit up. That's fucking terrifying. Little bitch slap a polar bear.
No shit.
Yeah, it's a big bitch.
Big bitch.
Yeah. Fuck the biggest land animal of all time. Bring that back, the Argentinosaurus. They said it was like 300,000 pounds or some shit like that. Like 150 tons. It's or no, more so. Like 300 tons, maybe. I think it was. It was bigger than a blue whale. No. Slightly smaller. I take that back. Blue whale, I believe, is still the largest animal to ever be on the face of the planet Earth that we know of.
Really?
They're huge.
Bigger than the dinosaurs?
It's like 180 tons.
Are you sure?
An average blue whale is like 330,000 pounds or some shit like that.
I think.
And they also have a really weird length to weight ratio. Like if we packed in the same amount of weight per like foot of body length as a blue whale, we would be like fucking like 8,000 pounds or some shit at our height.
Huh.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, you know more about that shit than I do.
They're fucking massive. Blue whales are huge. Like they have fucking like 10 to 12 foot dicks.
That'll tear Mel's Hole up.
Yeah, drop one of those down Mel's Hole. But like that's a lot of people are like, well, you got to go with dicks. I'm like that's an easy way for a guy to wrap around the size of animal that we're talking about.
That's a big fucking dick.
That's what I'm saying. Like, oh, you don't think it's that big? Its dick's twice as big as you are. Like, all right, cool. It's probably pretty big then, I guess. And then you got sperm whales, the biggest toothed whale. They're pretty gnarly. But I don't even know where we're going with this. But yeah, that's where I was going. I was like, if you're gonna fucking recreate fucking extinct things, fucking go all out with it. I'm not saying do T-Rex and shit, but if you're gonna do woolly mammoth, do a fucking mastodon. Why not? Fuck it.
Do the Meg.
Oh fuck no, we'd all be fucked.
Not me. I ain't going in the fucking ocean.
No, we would all be fucked. The ecosystem of the oceans would be completely destroyed.
You sure about that?
Yeah. That's the big. That's
you sure Jason Statham couldn't save us from that?
No, he can deliver stuff really well, but no, because whales are one of the biggest biological evidencers of the non-existence of the megalodon now. Because up until the megalodon went extinct, whales did not get as big as they have since it's gone extinct. Whales were like half the size. No, they would get like
size?
20, 30 feet. Like was like a big whale back then.
Oh.
Because it had a predator. They do. I mean, like whales will get attacked and eaten, but like for the most part, they don't have to worry about it quite as much because they
can just get big and fat now.
Yeah. That's why, like, I mean, the population numbers would be all skewed because it's just like blue whales. Like, the crazy thing about blue whales is they're so fucking big. Let's see if I can find this real quick. Like, blue whales are so fucking big that it makes their population really weird. 10 to 25,000 blue whales in the world. Yeah.
Huh.
Because they're that big. The areas they live in could not sustain, like, 2 or 3 times that number. Because, like, there we go. There's another one. You want another mind-blowing blue whale fact? Is I've been listening to a lot of biology and shit lately. You know I'm into that stuff.
You are.
Let's see. A blue whale. Jesus Christ. So, krill. You know what krill is? It's a crustacean, like it just floats freely in like big groups.
Okay.
Yeah, like kind of like a very small shrimp.
Okay.
So let's find out how much does a krill weigh. I found this one really interesting. God damn it. 1 gram. On average, a krill weighs 1 gram. So we were talking about the population of blue whales being so small. On average, some of the biggest individuals in the blue whale population may eat up to 6 tons of krill a day at 1 gram per piece. Yeah.
That's eating a lot.
So there's 28 grams to an ounce.
That's right. It goes and just opens its mouth and it just filters it in.
Filter feeders.
Yeah.
So there's 28 grams to an ounce. That's
Let's
100 and wait, no, shut up. That's 100 there's 112 grams and a quarter of a pound. Don't ask me how I know this. So that means there's 448 grams in a pound.
You got a credit card?
Times
Let me check your credit card.
Times 2,000. So 448, whatever 448 times 2,000 is. So let me try to do so for 896,000 krill a day. Don't quote me on that. I don't know.
No, I'm not.
If I'm correct in that, I will be fucking shocked because that weed knowledge really comes in handy, though.
Oh, yeah, sure, it's the weed knowledge.
Who the fuck buys a quarter pound of fucking coke? I ain't never had that kind of money. Quarter pound of coke? That's like, I don't even want to know. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Cocaine's expensive.
Don't act like you don't know.
Cocaine's expensive.
Is it still?
Cocaine's always been expensive.
I figured, the supply and demands got whacked around. So I figured Coke would be a little bit cheaper now.
I mean, I'm sure you can get shitty Coke for cheaper.
Well, I wouldn't touch the shit now anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, no, that was all weed knowledge.
I would not touch any illicit drug at this present time.
I will shit my pants if my math is correct.
Listen to this back and do the math. Get a calculator, do the math.
I know, because now my brain hurts.
Yeah, I mean, it's just...
Yeah. Well, I mean, and this whole thing, it's just like fucking, like the existence of this is just like the Bigfoot thing like you were talking about. Like, people just want to believe in crazy stuff.
I will say this. I believe in vampires exist more than before.
That's because they do.
No,
whether or not they're actually need to feed on blood to survive and shit,
there are people
who are like, I'm a fucking vampire.
I think it's more likely that an actual vampire who feeds on blood exists before Mel's fucking hole.
Probably. I mean, there's vampire bats. There's leeches.
Of course, I did like that. What was it? It was either a meme or a TikTok.
What?
Something about basically blood isn't the next of life. Wouldn't it be more of semen? So why do vampires drink blood when they want life?
Jesus Christ!
What?
I'm just going down a rabbit hole. The heaviest blue whale was also a female hunted in the southern ocean of Antarctica on March 20th, 1947, weighed Now, I would like to know how accurate this is, because how the fuck do you weigh this in 1947? 418,817 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. 30 elephants. Or 2,500 humans. That's crazy. 100 feet long. Fucking over 100 tons.
Yeah.
That's nuts. And that's what what I was leading to, is like everybody wants to believe in all this fantastical shit, and I'm like, but at the same time, I don't think most people think about the fact that like there's mind-blowing shit that we know of already.
This is true.
Like something the size of a blue whale. I don't think like people know that the blue whale is a thing, but I don't think that it really crosses people's minds how fucking massive of a creature that is. 100 feet long and 200,000 to 300,000 pounds.
Big bitch.
That's a ship that is moving and thinking and breathing and intelligent. We're like killer whales, terrifying. Orcas, horrifying, if you really think about it.
A killer whale and orca?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just being scientifically correct. Because they're fucking terrifying. Those things are so goddamn smart. They play with stuff. You ever seen them? They're like fucking.
I know they hunt in packs.
Yeah. And you'll find pictures of like videos of them like fucking flipping seals up in the air with their tail and shit. They're basically just playing.
Playing with their food?
Oh yeah. Like they have like, dude, they're so fucking terrifyingly smart. Have you seen the ones that slide up on the beach in like South America to grab seals off the shore? And then they just like wiggle back into the ocean. Yeah. Or the ones that like will fucking like swim fast as fuck at like a chunk of ice that a seal or something like that like jumped up on for safety, and it will like it'll swim fast as fuck and then dive and then use the wake that it made to like move the ice and possibly push some water up on it to make it slick to like disturb the chunk of ice enough to possibly slide the seal off the other end, and they'll just be waiting for it.
Smart fuckers.
Smarter than we are. If one of us was in the ocean, like, how do I get that seal? We would not think of that. Well, I mean, obviously, we don't have the physical capability to do that.
Well, I was watching something the other day about dolphins, why they swim in front of big ships.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't have to swim. They just ride the wave.
Like a surfer.
Yeah, it creates a wave that the bow of the ship, I guess, creates a wave, and they just sit there and ride it.
Well, I mean, those are another thing. Like all the stories of, like, porpoises in general, like, basically saving humans from sharks and shit. Like, have you ever seen any of those? There's multiple of those of like dolphins just coming out of nowhere and like corralling sharks away from divers and shit like that, or even attacking sharks.
Yeah.
Like, the fuck? I don't know how we got on this subject. I think what I do, it's because, like I said, everybody wants to fucking attach to all this fantastical shit. I'm like, dude, there's fucking crazy shit going on around us at all times. You just don't know about it.
Yep, I agree.
There's stuff that happens on camera and like that we know of that like most people, if you just told them and you didn't have a video or something to show them, they might not believe it.
You would have said 30 years ago, we would be talking to people all across the world live.
All 7 of them.
Hey, well, people got bored with this.
I was gonna say it might be like 3 on the live stream, but it'll be fucking 7 by the time people download us.
God damn it. Yeah, but you know, I would have said that was fucking witchcraft.
Right.
You know, so.
Oh, we'd all be burnt at the stake.
Yes. So.
Be like, hey, check out this funny video I saw on Instagram. They'd be like, burn him.
I mean, I remember back when you couldn't call Dayton because it was freaking long distance, you know?
Yeah.
Plus extra money, you know? So it is what it is.
Like, you don't even think about that shit anymore, to the point that, like, I'm like, oh, yeah, I got to put the fucking 1 at the beginning of this phone number to call it.
Yeah.
Because you don't even think about the shit anymore, because everything's just becoming ever more expansive. Yeah, but yet we have shit like this that's just completely under the radar and nobody knows dick about it.
About Mouse Hole? Mouse Hole.
Oh.
What?
Other random thought.
What?
Did I tell you about the declassified at CIA documentation that's basically like a self-healing guidebook? Like, it talks about like your like utilizing your like chakra or pineal gland to like help with like aches and pains, all the way to like mental distress and like helping yourself set yourself up for a better future by like aligning yourself and fixing the chemical imbalances in your own body, like on some hippie shit.
The CIA's hiding this from us?
Dude, it's on CIA.gov. There is a whole fucking PDF file of this. I have it saved. I'll have to bring it. I don't remember what it's called. Yeah.
Sweet.
It's got diagrams and shit.
Gotta love the CIA.
Yeah, I was like, man, they really did stare at goats.
Yes, they did.
Fuck. George Clooney was right.
Yeah.
I'll be damned.
Yeah, so we're going to wrap this one up. I think this was a fascinating episode about complete bullshit.
It was really fun to talk about Mel's hole.
I mean, we could have went a lot
deeper into the hole.
Deeper into the hole. I mean, we could have had really fun, a lot more fun with this than we did. I'm proud of myself. I'm going to pat myself on the back for being somewhat mature throughout this whole episode.
We really could have had much more fun with the Mel's hole.
And
we didn't have to pay $250,000 a month like the government did.
Yeah, Lamont wants to hear more about the CIA file. I think you should dive into that and do an episode on it.
I have it saved on my phone.
But it will not be the next episode.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, if you're into any type of conspiracies or weird shit like that, like just perusing the CIA.gov website can pass hours.
The next episode's we're getting back to the roots.
We're doing some ghosties.
We're doing a famous haunting, which we've talked about, but I don't think we've actually covered a full episode of it. But we've mentioned it in episodes. We might have covered it before. We're going to cover it again.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll have some improvements coming soon, depending on how Phil's fucking health journey goes.
Don't get me fucking.
He's still alive.
I'm still here.
Well, like I'm going to get a cloud lifter, but it's not a cloud lifter.
Oh.
It's like $18. And it apparently performs just as good as that $120 cloud lifter that they sell on Amazon.
Sweet.
Yeah, and it's smaller. It's literally like you can hook it up like to the end of this.
There's one that I was thought about it. You just hooked it up here, or you wanted it actually closer to the.
Because I think I'm gonna get
this. This plugs into it, and it But
yeah, I think I want to get one. I want to get a stream deck. I want to get a fucking soundboard. Obviously, no time soon. All this shit's really expensive. But,
yeah,
but go join the Patreon and fucking support us. We're your dads, for Christ's sake.
Well, but we're doing some paranormal shit. I'm going to do a paranormal episode, get back to the roots of one of the most popular hauntings of all time.
Don't say it. Save it for next week. Don't even tell me. Don't touch it. Don't even look at it. Go on now, get.
Well, I got to tell you, because you got to do the thumbnail.
Fuck, that's right.
But movies were made about it. It was the basis of movies.
Dude, the thumbnail for this one was so stupid.
Yes, it was. But we were getting back to the roots of the podcast, and then we'll get back to stupid shit like we always do. So
like the racist roots, or like roots, bloody roots, like Sepultura.
The normal roots, the ghosty roots,
not the Kunta Kinte roots.
No, you know what? I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
Really?
I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure I think they remade it entirely, like sometime in the last 10 years.
I'm pretty sure I have seen it back when I was younger.
That man hit me, Hoppo.
But I don't remember it. I'm pretty sure I have.
You never watch fucking Oprah take a piss in the street?
No, I've missed that one.
That's kind of shocking that you've never seen Roots. You were alive for that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I remember. I'm sure because it was probably. I think at one point it was like Wizard of Oz, where every year they would show it at a certain time.
Are you saying that?
You know how, but every year
Roots was like the Wizard of Oz.
You know what I meant as in programming. You know that almost every year Wizard of Oz played at a certain time, and then I think Roots would play at a certain time too. Kind of like Christmas Story plays all 24 hours during. I'm pretty sure.
You said the Wizard of Oz Roots was basically the Wizard of Oz. There was a bunch of people jumping through hoops to try to find what they were looking for, and then there was a well-dressed white guy in a big-ass house pulling the strings behind everything.
Anyway, but we will be back next time. I don't know when we're going to do that. What's your work schedule? I mean,
same as last week. Early through Thursday, then nights, Friday, Saturday.
All right, it might be Sunday. I don't know. Or it might be Saturday during the day. I don't know. We'll have to
Sunday would be better for me, but I mean, whatever works.
We'll figure something out.
We could do Sunday pretty, like, in the early, like, around now or earlier, a little earlier.
Okay, we'll figure it out. We'll see you next time. Thanks for everybody that showed up in the chat. We greatly appreciate it. Be sure to find us on your favorite podcast app. whether it be Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio,
And
Apple.
don't throw animals into Mel's hole.
Stay away from Mel's Hole, people.
They get cooked,
We're out
and then seals come out of them.
with human eyes.